Hello, everyone. Today, the case took place in Massapequa, Long Island, New York, in May 1992. One of the main figures in our story is Amy Fisher, also known as the Long Island Lolita. Amy was born on 21st August 1974 in Merrick, New York on Long Island, to Elliot and Roseanne Fisher. Her father was Jewish, while her mother was raised in an Italian-American family. The family was described as upper middle class. Her father was not particularly expressive, but was very devoted to his family, while her mother had a close relationship with her daughter. Some critics accused the Fishers of resolving issues with money rather than through conversation. Amy had everything a young girl could wish for. As often happens when a child does something wrong, the parents were frequently blamed, and this case was no exception. The Fishers ran a small business. As a teenager, Amy had her own car and money for small luxuries. Her parents cared for her but did not interfere with her private matters or choices. After the shocking events unfolded, Amy Fisher's parents faced intense public scrutiny. Critics argued that they had failed to properly supervise their teenage daughter. Some accused them of being overly permissive, suggesting that their parenting may have contributed to Amy's reckless behavior. Neighbors recalled that Amy rarely invited anyone into her home and tended to keep to herself, yet she also liked to stand out. Amy Fisher's clothing choices in the early 1990s reflected the fashion trends of the era, characterized by bold and expressive styles. She was often seen wearing tight-fitting, revealing outfits, which contributed to her media portrayal as the Long Island Lolita. These fashion choices played a significant role in shaping the public's perception of her during the scandal. Neighbors considered her secretive and mysterious. She spent a lot of time outside the home, so their opinions were based only on brief glimpses. The Fisher family, before the events I'm about to recount, was considered respectable and well-regarded. Amy attended Kennedy High School in Belmore, New York, during the early 1990s. After school, she planned to attend college. Amy had many friends at school and was popular. She attracted people, especially members of the opposite sex. Amy frequently attended parties, and rumors began circulating that she was seeing older men. One day in 1991, Amy's father took his car for repairs, accompanied by his daughter. The mechanic was 35-year-old Joey Buttafuoco. Joey was born on the 11th of March 1956 in New York State and, in 1977, married Mary Jo, who was a year older. The couple had 2 children, a daughter, Jessica, and a son, Paul. The family was considered happy and harmonious. The marriage appeared very compatible. They got along well as a couple. Joey was described as energetic, sociable, humorous, always kind, and warm-hearted. Amy was immediately taken with Joey. She felt he was the one, and the fact that he was twice her age did not bother her. In fact, it impressed her. At their first meeting, she did not yet know that he was married. She wanted to see him again and visited the workshop in May 1991 with her own car. Initially, they talked a lot about cars, but soon they spoke about everything. It was then that Amy learned Joey had a wife and 2 children, but this did not concern her. Every time she visited the workshop, she dressed to appeal to Joey, and she succeeded. The pair soon began seeing each other. Their first encounter, which reportedly became intimate, took place on the 2nd of July 1991. Joey invited her to his home, marking the beginning of their relationship. For Joey, it was initially fleeting, but for Amy, it was serious from the outset. Over time, Joey also became emotionally involved, suggesting meetings and dates more often. The initiative was no longer solely Amy's, which pleased her greatly. Amy became deeply invested in the new relationship and began isolating herself from friends and family. She thought only of her beloved and wanted to spend every moment with him. She imagined becoming his wife and taking his surname. Supposedly, Joey promised her he would leave his wife and start a new life with Amy. Amy never met Joey's wife, but, naturally, did not like her from the beginning. She repeatedly urged Joey to leave his wife, and he promised he would, though in reality he never intended to do so. Joey was respected and had many friends, while his wife adored him. They were raising children together, and it was not in Joey's interest to give all that up for a teenager. He feared the uproar it would cause among those who knew him, and his current life with his wife was very comfortable. Unfortunately, Amy kept pressing, and the situation between them became tense. Joey began distancing himself and limiting meetings with his young lover. Eventually, Amy became angry and demanded he choose between her and his wife. As could have been expected, Joey chose his wife. Their contact ceased for 2 months, and Amy started seeing a new boyfriend, Paul Macaulay, a gym owner from Massapequa, New York. She wanted Joey to know and become jealous, and it worked. Joey reached out, and their relationship began again. The couple resumed seeing each other, but Amy had no intention of ending things with Paul, who was younger than Joey and unmarried. Since Joey was still with his wife, she saw no reason to end that relationship. Joey sometimes supported Amy financially, but over time he refused, claiming he had no money because he was supporting his family. He suggested, however, that Amy could earn extra herself, and we can all guess what kind of work he had in mind. Rumours spread around town that Amy was seen with various men, yet she continued seeing Joey. She wanted a genuine relationship with him and still dreamed of a life together. The only obstacle was, of course, his wife, Mary Jo. Amy, accustomed to always getting what she wanted, decided to remove the obstacle. According to her, Joey had known everything from the start and would help her get rid of his wife. He denied it, of course, but Amy obtained a gun from another mechanic, Peter Guigenti. It is unclear whether Joey knew him. The plan was set, and it was scheduled for the 19th of May, 1992. That day, Peter drove Amy to Joey's house and waited in the car while she went inside. The door was opened by Mary Jo, who had no idea what was happening. Amy claimed she wanted to talk about her husband, lying that she had a younger sister who had been having an affair with Joey for a year. Amy asked Mary Jo to let her in, but she refused and did not believe her story. Amy then showed her a Joey t-shirt with his company logo as proof of the affair. The atmosphere became tense and reportedly the two women argued. The conversation lasted 15 minutes. When Mary Jo attempted to close the door, Amy pulled out the gun and fired. She then ran to the waiting car and left with Peter. Fortunately, the noise alarmed neighbours, who came outside and saw Mary Jo. They quickly called for help. She was still alive, and a battle to save her life began in hospital. It took some time, but she was rescued. Unfortunately, she lost hearing in one ear and will never regain full use of part of her face. The bullet smashed through Mary Jo's jaw, severed her carotid artery, and lodged at the base of her brain. Mary Jo was quickly able to describe her assailant. Joey Buttafuoco reportedly recognized the T-shirt that Fisher had brought to the house. He told police he had given it to Fisher's father and admitted that she might have been the shooter. Soon afterwards, Amy Fisher was arrested. But she and Joey Buttafuoco would tell very different versions of events. According to Joey, Amy had imagined that they were in a relationship. Amy was taken into custody on the 26th of September, 1992. The case rapidly became a media sensation, as Amy maintained that she was involved with Joey and had acted because of it. Joey, of course, denied this, asserting his love for his wife. Fuel was added to the fire by a videotape released by Amy's boyfriend, Paul Macaulay, which highlighted her naivety. In September 1992, a videotaped conversation between Amy Fisher and Paul Macaulay was broadcast on the tabloid television show Hard Copy. Recorded hours before she agreed to a plea deal in court, Fisher discussed her future plans, including her desire to marry Macaulay so that he could visit her in prison. She explained that her lawyer believed requiring people to be married for such visits was unconstitutional and that she intended to challenge the law. Fisher also expressed her wish to remain in the public eye, stating that this would allow her to make money, given the pain and suffering she had endured. The videotape was significant, as it was released just before Fisher's bail hearing, adding to the media frenzy surrounding the case. It portrayed Fisher as seeking fame and financial gain from the incident, which influenced both public perception and the legal proceedings. Of course, no marriage took place. The trial began, and Amy agreed to a plea deal. Her lawyer assured her it would result in just 3.5 years behind bars. Amy pleaded guilty and received a sentence, but not the one promised by her lawyer. She was sentenced to 5 to 15 years imprisonment, later reduced to a maximum of 10 years. Furious, Amy accused her lawyer of lying and of inappropriate intimate contact with her, though the latter allegation was never substantiated. Joey's trial also commenced. He claimed he did not know Amy. Unfortunately for him, a motel receipt and witnesses proved he had seen her, and he admitted to knowing her. Joey Buttafuoco was convicted in 1993 for engaging in an illegal sexual relationship with the underage Amy Fisher and was sentenced to 6 months in jail and 5 years probation. He served 4 months and 9 days before being released in March 1994. He later faced further legal issues, including a 2004 conviction for insurance fraud, which led to a 1-year jail sentence. Peter Guagenti provided Amy Fisher with the handgun used in the 1992 shooting of Mary Jo Buttafuoco. Guagenti, a 21-year-old from Brooklyn, was arrested and convicted for his role, receiving 6 months in jail for selling Fisher the .25 caliber handgun and driving her to the Buttafuoco residence on the day of the shooting. Mary Jo maintained written contact with the Fisher family, and in 1999, after Amy had served 7 years, Amy applied for early release. Mary Jo expressed her full support, forgiving Amy as a young and misguided girl. Amy was released for good behavior and began writing about her life, seemingly pursuing her plan for fame. She published her autobiography, If I Knew Then, describing her life leading up to the shooting, her relationship with Joey Buttafuoco, and her experiences in the criminal justice system. The memoir also reflects on media attention and her perspective on how the events affected her and her family. Amy later met Lou Bella, whom she married, and they had 3 children. During this time, she also participated in interviews and television appearances. While pregnant, she appeared on Oprah, discussing her transformation, her wonderful husband, and her regret over past actions. However, she and her husband eventually produced adult films, which gained popularity due to Amy's notorious past. In 2011, she officially left the industry, and in 2015, she separated from her husband. In 2017, Fisher discussed her life in Florida, noting that her children faced challenges because of her notoriety. Other parents were reluctant to allow their children to associate with hers, fearing they might inherit the Amy Fisher gene. As of 2017, she was living back on Long Island with her 3 children. A family friend confirmed her return, though her exact residence remains private. Fisher has largely kept a private life since her return, with no public updates on her current activities. As for Joey and Mary Jo, after the events, the couple moved to California. Mary Jo continued to trust her husband, believing that everyone else was at fault. Over time, however, complaints from other women about Joey began to surface. In 1995, Joey was arrested, and Mary Jo defended him. Their marriage endured for several more years until 2003, when she finally decided she had had enough. Details of what occurred are unclear, but Mary Jo ultimately regained clarity and improved her life. She married Stu Tendler, a print shop manager from Queens, New York, in a ceremony at the Always and Forever Chapel in Las Vegas, using her maiden name. Unfortunately, Stu passed away in 2018 after battling cancer. Mary Jo also published a book claiming that Joey likely had antisocial personality traits and placing the blame squarely on him. She underwent a long journey to reconcile with the past and confront the truth about her former husband. Joey also made media appearances, including participating in a celebrity boxing match in 2002 against professional wrestler Joni China Laura, aired on Fox. Amy and Joey reunited in 2006 for a televised special as part of a broader media strategy involving both. Mary Jo also participated. In 2007, Amy and Joey filmed a staged romantic dinner for The Insider, produced by David Creef, intended as a potential reality show. The reunion capitalized on their infamous past and attracted viewers. In 2005, Joey remarried and has occasionally appeared in the media since. It is astonishing how a tragic event became such a circus, turning the perpetrators into celebrities. Fortunately, Mary Jo survived and rebuilt her life. What do you think about this case? Take care, and until next time.